Action.
Hi, my name is Amanda Fisher. This is my third speech for my Speech 111 class, my informative speech. If we can look around at my audience here. Okay, fantastic. I chose to do my speech today on Sigmund Freud. He's in his 5 psychosexual stages. He's one of the most famous psychologists out there. He's also one of the most criticized, but definitely my favorite. My favorite thing about Freud is that everything that he did was referred back to childhood. Whatever you did in your childhood, according to him, would somehow play out later in life. And his 5 psychosexual stages was one of the most ostracized theories to ever have existed in psychology, mainly because he created this back in a time when things like children and sex were totally taboo. You don't talk about them together. So it was majorly discredited until pretty much about present day. I'm sure everyone's heard of these 5 psychosexual stages at one time or another. Freud's 5 psychosexual stages is one of the most famous child development theories to ever have existed. However, it's the most criticized. Let me explain to you what I mean. The first stage would be the oral stage. It's about ages 1 to 2 of childhood, when a child will be very infatuated with putting things in their mouth, sucking their thumbs. Freud believed that if there was any delays in this stage, that it would play out later in life, that the child would be more of or the adult would be more of an excessive alcoholic, a nail biter, a smoker, and that's how he felt the oral stage played out. The second stage was the anal stage. It was between ages, I believe, 1.5 to 4, where children begin to learn how to control their bowel movements. He believed that you would either be messy and just let everything, let loose, be very messy with it, or you would hold it, be more clean and cleanly with your bowel movements. He said that this would play into adulthood, that if you decided to hold everything in, you'd be a cleaner person, actually also a little bit more hostile. This is originally where the term anal retentive originated. And he also stated that if you were the messier type personality as a child, that you grow up to be a little bit, uncleanly personality, a little bit more laid back. The third stage, the phallic stage, this has to be one of the most ostracized, very criticized of his 5 psychosexual stages. He stated here that girls would both girls and boys would fall in love with the opposite sex parent and literally have fear and resentment towards the same sex parent. They said that little boys would suffer from something called castration anxiety. They'd fall in love with their mom and literally fear that their dad could castrate them at any moment. This is also, the castration anxiety was actually nicknamed the Oedipus complex, referring back to Oedipus, who had killed his father and married his mother. Little girls suffer from a similar type, deal as the castration anxiety. It's called penile envy, where they, were just curious why boys have what they don't. Eventually, Freud said that this always plays out naturally, that when the child becomes an adult, they'll eventually, of course they wouldn't fall in love with their mother or father. They would just learn to grow up as the same sex parent and relate to them. So they grow up being like their dad if they're a little boy and being like their mom if they're a little girl. The fourth stage is called the latency stage. It would go on, I think, until about age 10. This is kind of a break in the psychosexual stages where really nothing happens. So it's kind of a break in the stages, but it's followed up by the 5th and final stage called the genital stage, which is pretty much the preteen years all the way throughout adulthood. It's just, it's more conventional sexuality exploration. The child, or, preteen adult generally becomes what they should be sexually, and everything plays out into normalities. These are the 5 psychosexual stages. I'm sure, many of you out there can see why they'd be so criticized. Some of it's a little bit too much to believe, but do you think that it would be more the works of a crazy man or a genius? I am personally very fascinated with Sigmund Freud and all of his theories. I hope that all of you out there got the same interest and fascination in my knowledge of Sigmund Freud. And thanks for the speech. Have a good day.